Hey there everyone, welcome to Sourav Sir Classes. So let's start with the new question, that is, what is zero-based budgeting? Okay, so the question is, what is the rationale behind zero-based budgeting? So let us try to understand first, what do we mean by budget? So we know that budget is basically the plan that the government make initially for the whole year and try to write down the revenues and where their expenses are going to be. So that is the budget. That is government's revenue minus government's expenditure. So if I talk about revenue, it can be taxes or non-tax revenues and all the expenditures in terms of transfer payments, pensions, etc., wherever the government is actually making the expenditures. So how much is the total revenue earned by the government and how much and where are the different sectors where the expenditures are to be made is what budget is. Now when the budget is made from the initial point considering it as zero. So whenever the budget is made, the process of making the budget starts from the zero level instead of what it was in the previous year's spending. That is the zero based budgeting. Okay, so in order to define zero based budgeting, so it just means that zero based budgeting is a budgeting process that starts from zero instead of basing the budget on the previous year's spending. Okay, so as the year ends, the plan ends, a new plan begins from scratch, that is zero. So that is the zero based budgeting. Now what is the rationale, like why is it done, what is the justification? So basically it is to ensure that all the expenses are justified, because whatever was the situation in the previous year may not be the same this year. Both the year can differ in the economic stability, growth and other needs and requirement of the time. So to start from scratch and make the budget as per what is needed for the present year is the rationale behind starting from scratch, that is zero based budgeting, right? So this is the reason why the budget starts from the scratch, that is zero, so that the expenses can be justified for the given year and also to avoid the inefficiencies and excess that can occur when budget is simply based on the previous year's spending. Okay, now next one is about the what are the different things that are considered, like in zero based budgeting process. So each department or program must justify every expense starting from a zero base. Like what are the different departments where they are actually going to spend money and why and how much. Okay, so there is a targeted rate and the actual rate, right? So this requires a thorough examination of each line item in the budget and a determination of whether the expense is necessary and cost effective. Okay, so just because you want a particular sector to experience growth, so you cannot just go and spend there, because resources used in one, that means in two you will have limited resources, right? Because the resources are limited, so you have to allocate them efficiently. So here also comes the allocative function of the government while preparing the budget and starting from the scratch, that is the zero based budgeting. Okay, now what is the benefit of this zero based budgeting? So another benefit we can say that it encourages a more strategic approach to budgeting, a more strategic approach to budgeting. But why? Because since every expense is justified, the budgeting process requires a lot of evaluation from the department and the program's goals and objectives. Like what are the goals and the objectives, whether it is justified, whether in order to reach the objective they have enough resources or not. So a lot of evaluation is done before finalizing a particular goal and objective, and hence the amount to be spent on that particular goal, objective or program. So a lot of evaluation has to be done. So that is why, so there is a strategy behind it and it is very effective. So this can result in some focused and targeted budget with resource allocated to highest priority area, because it is going through so many allocations, so many evaluation and then criticisms and analysis, that ultimately when it will be finalized, then obviously the resources which are limited will be allocated only to those areas where it is actually needed and where it is actually of the highest priority. So overall, if we say the rationale behind zero based budgeting is to ensure that resources are used efficiently, effectively, and are allocated in the right places, and to avoid the inefficiencies that can result from simply planning the budget on the basis of the previous year's experience, right? So by requiring departments and programs to justify every expense, zero based budgeting can result in more strategic and streamlined budget and can ensure the resources are allocated at the highest priority areas and not wasted. So one of the important allocative function is also to be noted in this type of budgeting. So that's all for zero based budgeting for all of you.